Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Take Your Mark podcast. I'm your host, Emmy.
And I'm Ruchi.
And we have a very special episode today because we have a guest.
You do have a guest.
And this is Kyle.
That's right.
Hey guys, Editing Ruchi here. So I have just now realized that we never actually introduced who this guy is. So let me do that. This is Kyle. He's our friend from college. He's really passionate about fitness and is an avid gym goer. So we wanted to talk to him about his experience in lifting and just, life and how fitness is going right now. So yeah. Also, number 2 fan of the podcast. No one can beat my mom, but he's up there. He's a close second. So enjoy this episode with Kyle.
So we're figuring this out as we go. You may notice for our viewers that we are sitting on the floor. We don't have 3 chairs.
Yeah, we don't have 3 chairs.
Please subscribe so they can afford a 3rd chair. Please.
Yeah, please.
And maybe even a chair that I don't fall out of. So, that'd be great. But yeah, as you know, as our number 1 fan, maybe, are you? You got to prove yourself. But you watch this. We always start off by talking about our week. So is there anything you would like to, any fun stories from this week? Any achievements you'd like to share with the group?
Guys, am I intimidating?
No.
I was working out yesterday, and I was doing, bicep curls on this cable machine, and there's the turf strip in front of me, and there's a guy doing sled pushes on the turf, and very normal, didn't think anything of it. And I go down to the locker room getting ready to go shower. He walks in and he's like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey," because no one ever greets me in the locker room, just doesn't happen. He was like, "Dude, you were so intense up there." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, I was scared to walk in front of you because I thought you were looking in a mirror, but then I looked at the wall and there was no mirror. You were just looking intensely at the wall." And I was like, "What?" what? I couldn't believe that. I was like, it was 7:30 in the morning. I'm not fully even awake yet, but I guess I'm working out super hard and super intensely in the morning. Most importantly, why is he looking at me? I thought I was unperceivable at the gym, and I was proven incorrect. But apparently, to this wonderful man who was super nice, I am intimidating, and the people were scared of me, I think. But besides that, great week.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's terrible news for me because my greatest fear is being perceived in the gym, and I thought it was a myth.
It's been almost 5 years. This is really the first time it's happened. So, and 5 years and 7 gyms.
Those are pretty good odds then, I guess.
Yeah,
no.
Low rate, yeah.
But anyway, how was your guys' week?
Honestly, I didn't do all that much this week. I was pretty tired. I'm just very sore. I realized kickboxing, hard on your hips. Lifting your leg up to kick hurts. And then I've started doing longer runs. So I've run 9 miles so far this week. I've got another long run tomorrow. And that is going to be painful. Today was also painful, but that's just because I'm a little bit hungover. But tomorrow's going to be painful because my legs are definitely going to be sore. And also for people who are not watching, Ruchi and I are sharing a mic for today, so there's going to be some passing back and forth that has to happen. Currently, I'm holding it, but you might
Also
switch that up if I'm hogging the mic.
Subscribe for a 2nd or a 3rd mic as well, please.
Okay. Anything you'd like to share about your week, Ruchi, now? We're just going down the line.
Sure. My week was also very standard. Work, swim. That's kind of it. I will say though, Monday, I hit a record practice, 4,500 yards. Have not done that since December 2021. So it's been a while. So I consider that a record. So now, let's go. Freestyle day. We love freestyle day over here.
I was going to ask if it was IM day. I kind of doubted it, but a girl can dream.
I was late to IM day. I tried to get there on time and I got late. But I felt amazing on IM day.
That's good.
Yeah. breaststroke felt terrible, but everything else felt great.
Well, and also that's breaststroke and you. I feel like it's just a given that it'll feel kind of terrible.
We don't mesh, you know. I'm a breaststroke hater.
Same.
I am not, but my knees do hate it. My knees have been hurting. Which, if you stick around for part 2 of this episode, Kyle's going to stay, and we're going to get into injuries. So definitely.
Because my knees also hurt a lot.
So make sure you stick around for, I guess, part 2 of this / just the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
There's your little sneak peek.
Yeah.
Inside information. It's important.
Okay, so Kyle, today we're talking about your fitness journey. So where did it start? When? If you can remember, where did like that passion first start, and how did you get started?
It wasn't always like passionate about fitness. Actually, I think for most of my life, I was not passionate about fitness. Growing up, I played baseball, and I did karate, which I technically have my black belt. That's a different story.
Really?
Yes.
To a blue belt, and then I stopped going.
I did taekwondo. I got
Oh,
to. I got to a green belt, blue stripe. I think is the.
Yeah, it shows.
Yeah. What?
And like, I didn't.
The sass.
And I didn't like. I liked them both, but a combination of like not wanting to like go to baseball practice or like not like having motivation to actually like go try to be better at something. I never really like pursued them, never really loved them. And like once like high school came around, I was gonna like I decided not to continue playing baseball because I was, for one, not very good. Second thing, I was not very confident in my ability to play baseball, which is a theme that will encompass my fitness journey, is lack of confidence. Once high school came, I started to realize that like, oh, like I was like 5'4" and like 200 pounds, and I didn't really feel very good about myself, and I wanted to lose weight, and I picked up running, and I hated every second of it. I hated running, not a fan, but I did it every day. I run like 2 miles or more every day, and it sucked, but I did lose weight, and I got skinny, and at that point, I thought I was content, and there was a very distinct moment for me when I was in like sophomore, junior year. I was hanging out with my friends, and my one friend was like, "You're pretty skinny, Kyle," and I had never like realized that like I was skinny at this point. Like I didn't like have a lot of muscle at all really, because I wasn't working out, and that moment kind of stuck with me. And I think at that moment I was kind of like, maybe I should consider taking up like lifting, or taking up, I guess, bodybuilding is what you'd call it, but not really. And then COVID happened, and we got all put inside, and nothing really came of that for a while until my senior year of high school, when my friends were like, "We're going to Planet Fitness, you coming?" And I was like, "No." Next week I came, and they were like, "You want to come this week?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And that was senior year of high school, and then from then till now, it's been 4 or 5 years, I have worked out, I want to say, 4 to 7 days a week since, and it's been a journey for me in terms of like why I started, and like why I do it now. Because when I started, it was very much so, I want to start lifting weights so I can, I don't know, be attractive, get bigger, whatever that may be. Very shallow reasoning, if I'm being honest. But after sticking with it for a while and going through the ups and downs of trying to make progress, trying to figure out how to weightlift effectively and correctly, I learned a lot about myself and about just like how to have like drive and motivation and passion for something. And now the gym is a place for me to just do something that I enjoy, and like, I don't know, it's a very rewarding place for me to be. And I just now think of it as just a place that honestly I'm happy and I get to do what I like to do at the gym. So for me, it went from being just a very, not really a part of my life, fitness, to now it's like a cornerstone for me.
Okay, so it sounds like in like kind of early childhood, it was more your parents picked out some stuff for you to do. And then once it got to a point where you were like making decisions about fitness for yourself, you moved away from like organized, structured, like, oh, I'm on a team, or I, take these classes or something. Whereas I think for Ruchi and I, we definitely stuck more like, even though it sounded like you didn't really enjoy the sports you were doing all that much prior to that, I guess with baseball, like,
I liked baseball. It was just I didn't want to practice because I didn't have that like discipline at that point in my life. But I didn't like super love either, but I think I would have. Well, actually, here, I guess. So I guess like, what is your question? Is it more like?
I guess just what kind of made you go down the route of like, I'm just gonna do this on my own, versus, oh, let me try out like, join a team at my high school for like something I'm interested in trying.
For me, what kept me away from joining more team sports was actually the fear of like letting the team down, because I didn't have like confidence in myself at this point in my life, really at all. I was very like socially anxious, very not comfortable in my own skin at this point, and I was honestly just anxious and worried that if I joined a team, I would not be good enough to like, I don't know, allow us to win or whatever that may be. And looking back on it now, I think that's a silly thing to be worried about, especially when it's like high school baseball or something like that. Which
like at that point in your life, those are very important things. Like looking back now, it's like, oh, it's just high school, but like it doesn't feel like that at the time.
Mm-hmm. Which, exactly, you're right. And I think if I'd stuck with baseball or something like that at that age, and like I joined a team sport, something like that, I think I would have had a lot more growth as a person at that point in my life. Not to say that I didn't grow now, but I think I could have very easily enjoyed sticking with something like that for a while. So the reason I started running on my own was just because I was embarrassed to be like running to lose weight, which is such a silly, such a silly thing for me. Just think back on now, but like it definitely made sense back then for me. And it's not to say I never ran with like anybody else. Like I would run with my friends, but at this point, a lot of my friends were like cross country runners, so them running with me was like a chore for them because I wasn't like quick or anything like that, or I couldn't do the 10-mile run.
They're insane.
Charity work.
Literally, I was a charity case. I will say, when I transitioned from like running to lifting, I originally lifted with my friends pretty much every single night, which really helped motivate me to go. But I think since then, I kind of like to be like, I don't know, in my own world when I'm at the gym and just kind of like lock in, do my workout, like put on my noise canceling headphones, just like be in my own space and just do my stuff. That's not to say like I don't like working out with people, because I do like working out with friends. It's just I prefer working out alone. So moral of the story there is I do enjoy the reason I started doing more solo workout stuff is just because I find it easier to like lock in and like I can't think of a better word for it, because I was like lock in and really focus on like the workout itself and kind of just be in my own like space and I honestly have time to think. I'm gonna keep talking because it's my podcast now.
Okay.
Well, because I just remembered I also forgot I had a whole year and a half where I played so much spike ball, and that was like a team sport. It wasn't like a team. It was me and my friends, but there were 15 of us, so we would just like I played with like the same like 5 people, and we would just run it like every honestly just as much. We would go from the gym, or no, we'd go from school to spike ball, go home and eat dinner, and then go work out for like all of junior year and some of the senior year too. That was really fun. I like being able to like that was like my team sport, and you know that. So I'm more inclined to like work out alone now, but I do enjoy a team sport every once in a while.
I just think that's interesting because like something that we really struggled with like transitioning to college was moving out of having that much more like structured, someone else is doing like creating this workout for you, all you have to do is show up. And transitioning more into like we have to do this ourselves, whereas I feel like your journey set you up for that transition a bit more smoothly.
I guess.
Do you agree with that assessment?
No, I do, and I'm actually interested in like. It must have been so different for you to like come to college, come to graduation, and not have a workout planned for you. Like, and I guess I know from knowing you guys that you guys just like steal previous workouts and use those.
Not really. We write
No, we would
Is that wrong?
exchange writing it in the fall, at least when we were
I
swimming.
made a severe and utter lapse in my judgment.
So the thing is that she's an IMer, at least like previously.
Mostly,
I mean,
yeah.
IMer, breaststroke, and I am a freestyler, like longer distances. So when we swam 2 times a week together, I would write for one of the days a long distance free set, and she would write for the other day an IM set. So in a way, it was the honestly the cool part about it was just that partnership of like we don't specialize in the same thing, so we could help each other out, improving in other things.
And I will say we definitely like took inspiration from what like previous workouts we had done because there's only so many combinations you can do of like how to swim back and forth in a pool, but like we would write a workout each week. But even so, I mean, it took us until senior year to start doing that consistently again, and like getting there. And even now, like now that we're not swimming together, it's hard again.
Because like I'm kind of in a similar boat where the only reason I knew what I was doing in the gym at all was TikTok. When I first started, me and TikTok, we were best buds. Me and Bite Dance, oh, we're close. And I would just like my entire feed was like, try out this new chest workout. This back workout, we're gonna have your lats looking like a bird. It's like. No. And because of those,
No, you know what turns you into a bird? Swim.
Butterfly.
I
It
mean,
builds 'em.
I, trust me. No, I trust you. This workout, to be fair, was also horrible because you have to when you're looking for like workouts on TikTok, it's like walking into a Goodwill, where like you're like I'm looking for the heat, and you pull out like avocado green and pink striped shirt, and it's like this is not the heat. But then you find like the needle in the haystack, and it's like hold up. This like I mean the one big thing for me was like this one particular lat movement that what is it like the JPG pull down this one someone out there knows, but like you'd have to like sift through and you have to try all these different things, try all these different movements, try all these different workouts, figure out what worked for you. And over the course of a year and a half, 2 years of mediocre working out, I was able to like find like what worked for me and what I liked, and like I was able to just build my own workouts from scratch whenever I needed to. So I guess I'm in a similar boat where like I am using my previous experience for you guys in swim to like build workouts. But I do find it interesting that like it's because I feel like I hear a lot where like people really struggle to get into the gym or get into fitness or get into whatever it is. You see, my cheat code to get me there is caffeine. I will say, I think I've actually proven I would go without caffeine. I would go without whatever it may be to get me into the gym. But do you guys struggle with that like need for external motivation to go begin to work out, I guess?
For me, at least in terms of motivation, I think external motivation helps me the most when it comes to especially accountability partners. So in the fall, I was very consistent because I knew I had to show up for her, right? Because if I don't show up, then I'm just leaving her, I'm just ditching her. You know what I mean? So it was good that I had like I was at least swimming twice a week because of Emmy. Without Emmy, I might have been swimming 0 times a week because swimming by yourself sucks. And we've talked about this, I think, in previous episodes. It sucks. And like even now with master swimming, what's great is that I have a team. So when I show up, you know, teammates, it's the whole thing. I have a coach. So it feels very much like a team environment. So when I go, again, there's that external motivation, and I've paid for it. That's also true.
Big factor.
I have paid for it.
You gotta go.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it helps that like there's also people there, so it's not just me swimming by myself. It's not like a membership. It's like I have a team along with it and a coach who writes the practices. So it's actually been easier now than I think in college, because in college it was all based off of us and what we wanted to do. If you want to.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing. Like, I definitely struggle sometimes. Like, case in point, yeah, last semester we'd go and swim twice a week. This semester, I mean, on this Tuesday, I've been trying to like get up and go swim in the morning on Tuesdays. I just didn't want to go, so I didn't. I did like just a little like body weight workout in my room instead. So like I still did something, but I definitely would have preferred to have gone and swam, but I just didn't feel like it. And I think that was something that, like, you know, growing up, you have your parents who have to take you to practice half the time. There's coaches who are expecting you to show up. There's like competitions that you want to do well at. And then now it's like, I mean, okay, it should be more important that like I'm doing this for myself to feel good, but like that doesn't always work.
Yeah. Well, and to add on to what you said about people, I think another thing too is, I don't know if it was the same with you, but if you didn't go to practice, you couldn't swim at meets. So for us, it was like a mandatory, you had to be there. Otherwise, you weren't swimming at all. So you still had to show up to meets. You just weren't swimming.
Wait, you still had to show up to the meet? But
yes. They'd force you to come to the meet, but you just weren't swimming.
That shit worked. I meant that stuff works.
So that was another like motivator for sure back in high school that we don't have now, because with meets everything is optional now.
Yeah, my team wasn't good enough to let people sit out. So
Yo, don't throw shade at your team.
they know who they are.
They knew.
No, like we knew we weren't good. We hadn't won a meet in like 6 years when I joined the team. Like,
6 years is a long time.
Yeah.
6 years is a really long time.
Like granted, so the conference we were in was against like the really rich schools who all had their own pool at their school and like could afford to pay. Like, I mean, my school, not to say that like my school didn't have money to pay a coach, but like we didn't have the same draw of like, oh, this is a great place to coach. So we like struggled to get a coach, and then it just all kind of like compiled issues, you know.
Not the top talent at your school.
I was
In terms of coaches and
Record
players.
breaking.
Yeah.
Record breaking.
Record breaking.
I don't know if I did at the high school, but
Summer pool.
yeah, summer pool.
At the summer, fair. Hey, that's a win.
Yeah.
Well,
Where
going
were
back to
we?
something you said, Emmy,
Okay.
about like how it's difficult to get like yourself into the pool, the gym, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I had a very similar thing for me, where now that I've started working full time and I'm like, I guess, fully transitioned into like, you know, post grad life. It took a minute to try to figure out like and get comfortable with like my new routine of like, oh, do I want to work out before or after work? Like, what does that look like for me? And I chose the difficult option of I'm going to work out before work, which, oh man, waking up at 6 every day, which is not at all like that early, all things considered. And then I drive. I guess my routine right now is I get up at 6. I'm out the door by 6:30, and I drive down to work, which is like outside of like the city center, and then I grab a electric bike and I bike into the city. Then I walk to the gym, and like by the time I get there and like ready and I'm about to work out, it's like 7 o'clock. Work out for like an hour, shower, bike back to my work, and then start my day. And like on paper right now, and like actually doing it does not sound that bad, and it's honestly great. I love it. Getting that started, really tough. Some of those first days, getting up at 6. Oh my God. I got to the gym and I was like, this is about to be the worst workout of my life. And you know what? They were really bad. They were really, really bad workouts. But, you know, like, that's like, that was kind of the hardest part of like trying to like get motivated in the gym, like for me recently. I think it was better. This was better than going after work, because after work you're just like tired and you just don't want to be there. But you know, I definitely agree with the sentiment of like sometimes you just don't want to go. Most of the time now I'm pretty good about it, where I'm just like, I'm going. I already packed my lunch and I already packed my breakfast. I'm going. But I've definitely had a couple days recently where I've been like real hesitant. Haven't skipped yet, but it's going to happen. I'm going to be skipping 100% soon. Actually, I'm probably skipping today, but for good reason, you know. But, you know, that's my current, that's not only agreeing with you, it's also my current state of fitness. I'm working out anywhere from 4 to at most 6 times a week, but really it's 3 days on, 1 day off, asterisks, whatever may happen in between that. But so yeah, it's been interesting to stay motivated and be able to find motivation to keep going to the gym post grad, post whatever, trying to figure out life at this point. But I've decided I still like the gym. I still like working out even after 5 years. So
That's good.
Yeah.
What is your current goal with fitness?
My current goal is to be consistent, to get back some strength that I've lost because I've had to go lighter because of injury and things like that.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Stay tuned. My shoulders hurt. And to get some of that strength back, get to a point where I'm like, oh, you know, I'm feeling pretty good, because for a lot of college, before it got like super difficult for me, the gym's like my life essentially, because besides class in the gym, I had nothing else going on. So I was super hyper focused on like improving my workouts, making gains in the gym, and just getting stronger, that I was like the biggest I've ever been. I say biggest, but the strongest. Or like now, like I'm not looking to like, I guess exactly live that same way, because it was honestly a little bit unhealthy. But just get stronger in general, and I have been, which has been nice. Like I've been feeling myself get stronger at the gym with like the weights and what I'm moving, and like kind of been changing it up with what workouts I've been doing in general. And it's been fun. I think recently what surprised me was I was doing incline bench press with dumbbells. And I picked up the 60s, I think. Yeah. And I was able to do 3 whole sets, hitting at least like the minimum in the rep range I was going for. So I was going for 8 to 12. And I hit that for all of them, and I haven't done that in a while, which felt pretty good. So, you know, that's what's been cooking for me. But
Cool. Congrats. Very cool.
what about you guys? What's recently been hitting? What's recently been like your biggest achievement? You said you recently hit what was that, a yardage record?
I mean, since 2021, yeah, which was freshman. It was freshman year of college technically, but I'm kind of looping it in with high school because it was like December, so it was just after high school, like starting college. And that was when I had the most motivation post high school, because I was still in high school shape and I was still like really excited about.
You still had joy.
I have joy now. I had motivation. Yeah, it did take a dip there for sure, for sure. But yeah, that it was a record high yardage wise, 4,500, which I hadn't done in a while actually. It was all freestyle. I could feel my triceps at the end. It was hard sets too. Like it was just so hard, but we take it.
It's pretty
It's
beast.
pretty
Can't
good.
even lie.
Yeah, pretty good. What about you, Emmy? I mean, anything with running? Have you been running the most you've ran in a while?
Honestly, yeah. There was only one other period in my life where I was like running this much. I was training for a 10 miler. But even that was like, I was training with my mom. So it was still like a different kind of accountability where it was like, I mean, yeah, she would ask me if I wanted to go for the runs, but it's like my mom, you know? Whereas now it's just me and my friend being like, hey, when are we running this week? You know? And we've been able to up the distance without, I mean, like we are not fast runners.
Don't have to be.
Exactly. But we've been able to up the distance without our pace like slowing down. Like we've kept a consistent pace even as we up the distance, which has been fun. And it's actually been getting faster too, because just like we would stop and walk a bit in the beginning, and now we're like doing that less and less. And then this was actually just a thing this week. I went to climbing last night for the first time in like a year, and it was so fun.
I was literally gonna ask if you've been climbing recently.
This is like, I haven't been in so long. And then actually my friend who I'm running with was like, you know, we haven't climbed in so long. Like, do you want to go tonight? So we just went for an hour, because like when your grip strength is shot, like that's basically all you can climb for. We like for the most part just did some kind of easy ones. I did do one where I kind of had to like swing on one arm for a little bit, which like, you know, injury, shoulder, we might have to talk about that. But it was fun. And it was like, it made me remember. I was like, okay, I do like, I need to get back into doing this, you know?
I have recently been like, I should try climbing. Because
honestly,
I have.
Wait, guys, can we go climbing?
I'm extremely down.
You've kind of talked about why lifting already. Is there anything else you would like to say related to like why you picked lifting, why you enjoy it now?
Well, I guess to touch a little bit on why I picked it, just because I wanted to look good originally, which, to be honest, now I think that's a secondary goal of mine, maybe even tertiary. But I think why I'm stuck with it so long is just because, for one, like, I know it's kind of a cliche to say, but like the feeling of like getting a pump in the gym, or like just having like a really good workout, is like, to me, unbeatable. Like when I have a really great workout, it's just like it literally improves my whole day. Cause like I walk out of there, like especially if that day the like body dysmorphia isn't hitting and I'm feeling good about myself and the workout was great, I'm like, oh, my whole day is made. But like even beyond that, I do like the fact that the results and like the improvement are like things that I can physically see, and not just like times on a sheet or something like that. Which, and that's not to say those aren't important, because when I was running, I was trying to get faster. Like I think I got my mile time down to like 7:15, which like,
Oh, pretty good.
I was cooking, and I only did 1 mile that day, but
like, you know,
I did
Still
it.
good. Still good.
But you know, I kind of just like the fact that I can see my results, and like, I don't know. I guess I also just like the lifting community for the most part. You know what? I'm gonna put an asterisk on that. I like certain aspects of lifting community. I do have beef with the like stereotypical man in the gym. Like, dude, I was in the locker room. I was in the locker room.
I too have issues with men.
I was in the locker room 2 weeks ago, and this guy was talking about like when he's like, there's another guy in the locker room like about like work. He's like, yeah, dude, I hate working with broads. He used the word broads, like for real, and I was shocked. I was like in the shower, so I couldn't be like, yo, but it was wild. It was wild. And unfortunately, he would have beat my ass because he was humongous. But, besides those people, the community is also great. Everyone's really positive, and like, you go in the gym, there's kind of that camaraderie of like, yeah, we're all here right now to like do the same thing. You ever work in like, or like you walk in, you're like, they're on the machine that I want. You can be like, hey, can I work in with you? And they're like, most of the time, they're like, absolutely. And sometimes you start a conversation with somebody. You guys have a great little chat in the gym. But yeah, no, the community's great. Part of why I stay and like do it so often. Now, it's not perfect, but the gym and I and lifting, we're tight. But why do you guys like to swim and climb and run?
I mean, I feel like a lot of it does come down to community, because like I don't like running on my own. Running on your own sucks. But like my friend reached out to me over winter break and was like, hey, do you want to train for a half marathon? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we run together like 3 times a week, and it's great. I think we're actually going to start working in like she goes to the gym like other times too. But I think we're going to try and work in one like specifically like strengthening exercises for running, for like, shin splints, knee stability, ankle stability, all that. I think we might do our first one tomorrow. So, that's it. Also just like, that is even just, I honestly don't even care. I mean, it's fun to get, no, I didn't finish that sentence. It's
I don't give a
fun.
shit.
I don't even care about running that much. It's fun to get better at it, but it's mostly just that like, yeah, I get to hang out with my friend 4 times a week now, when I like otherwise probably wouldn't have seen her as frequently.
Which, such a great reason.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I got as much enjoyment out of being like, yo, come work out with me. But like most of the time, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to go do this machine. See ya.
Yeah. Well, and then like I swim with my friend on Fridays, and that's where like sometimes we only swim 1,200 yards, but like that's the one time a week when I see her, and we get to talk and we do some social kick. And then I think I might also start going to the gym with her as well, so that'll be great. And like
That's fire. You kidding
and
me?
even climbing. I mean, I really enjoy climbing for like figuring it out and stuff. But part of what got me into it was that like that's where I made my friends.
Mm.
And part of why I stopped going was that a lot of my friends graduated. And so now I'm kind of like, oh wait, I actually do miss the sport. Like I should do that. But that one's just fun because it's such like, there's so much technique that goes into it, and like there's different styles, and like you feel really accomplished when you like, kind of like you're saying, like you can do something you couldn't do before. And that's really cool.
Yeah. My turn.
No, actually, you don't get to answer this one.
Actually, just my mic stand.
Yeah.
I felt kind of bad. You were like, holding it in front of me, and I was like, I feel like I should like.
I'm getting a little workout while we're here, just holding the mic up for you.
You would actually have to tip her. Like, she would pull up the screen at the end and be like 20%.
I agree with your answer about the community. The community's great, and it's a big external motivator for me when I'm not swimming by myself. But it's funny because when I work out at the gym, I also prefer being alone. So I prefer working out alone if I go to the gym, but when I'm at the pool, I prefer when I have people around me. Because when I have people around me, I feel like I get that push, especially with like free days, like, people to keep up with. So I feel like, and people on your feet all the time trying to, get in front of you. Hey. Let me in front of you, please.
I didn't even think about that.
No, when you catch up to someone, you like tap their feet, and it's always like kind of a weird etiquette thing of like, usually I feel like people say like tapping someone's foot once just to like let them know that you're there is okay, but then some people, especially when you're younger, they just like, hey, hey. And then like you try and pass them, but then the other person doesn't want to be passed, so they speed up, and then it's like, oh my god,
It's
just
like
let me go in front
driving
of
on the
you.
highway.
It's like driving.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
Wait,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's the
It's
comparison
ego
I
thing.
think
You're
of
like,
too.
oh, I can't get past right now. Not by Ruchi.
Yeah. But okay, that didn't even answer the question. So
Motivation.
yeah, there's motivation there. But I'd say the best part, and we've talked about this, the swimmer comm is what keeps me like really, like wanting to do it. And like, I just love the sport too. Like whenever I get to swim, I just feel really good. And we've talked about this too, of like feeling healthy and craving the feeling after swimming, like after you get out of the water and you're like, I just did 5,000 yards. I feel so tired, but like I feel great, you know?
Those endorphins
Yeah.
are unbeatable.
But yeah, I guess that's my why of like, I like the swimmer calm feeling and just the feeling of after like the post practice feeling, but also the feeling of winning when you compete and you win or you even improve. That feeling, unbeatable.
You like
Yeah.
winning? You like improvement?
We love winning.
What's
here.
next? Do you like to breathe?
No, that's the whole
No,
point of
that's-
our sport.
Yeah.
True. Okay, well, okay, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. All right.
Although I will say
take that L.
I breathe every 2, so it's I'm kind of bad with that. I breathe
What?
all the
Like,
time.
it's distance. Like that's what you're supposed to do.
I breathe every 2
Yeah,
strokes.
you are supposed to breathe. I think. Science has been undecided about this one, but I think you do have to breathe.
You don't understand.
No, I do. You come up for air is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying I breathe every 2 strokes, which is not ideal. Like you should be breathing an odd number so that you breathe not just to one side, you breathe to both. But I always breathe to my right side.
I think it's less of an issue now. It's just when like you're still growing that coaches get on you for that because like some people's rib cages. I don't know how true this is, granted, because it feels like it shouldn't be physiologically possible. But my coach did tell us one time that her rib cage was uneven because she always breathed to one side growing up.
But you said this on a podcast just now, so now it's true.
I had a disclaimer.
No,
on
but
the
you
internet
said it.
now.
It's on the internet.
Yeah.
It's true, and I'm gonna listen back to this and be like, "That's a fact right there."
My ribs actually are uneven, though. Fun fact.
So fun.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, you just said that's not physiologically possible. Yet.
Well, no, I don't know if that's what caused it.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's definitely possible for your rib cage to be uneven. I just don't. I mean, I breathe to both sides.
I don't.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. I don't know what that means.
Okay, so you're swimming freestyle. Sorry, I don't want to hit the.
Here, you'll get a viewers
Do you
will
want to narrate or
Okay, yeah, I
For
can
the audio
narrate.
listeners.
Okay. Okay. So for freestyle, you do one arm and then the other, right? So you can breathe to either your left side or your right side. So I breathe to my right side all the time.
Oh, so
I
it's
breathe
like-
every 2 strokes. Also, you just muted yourself, by the way.
Great call.
But like Emmy will breathe to odd strokes, so she can breathe like
I breathe
You-
every
So I
3.
go
So
one,
you
two,
right,
three,
left,
one,
right,
two,
left.
You breathe every 2?
But I get into a flow of it. It's like
Good
you-
pun. Like water, you know.
I know, I got it. No, I breathe every 2. It's just my flow of because when we do things like 400s or 500s, those are like 16, 20 laps. You get into a flow, right? Like you like same with running. Like you just get to that spot where you're just
Dude, I am positive that spot does not exist. That spot is not real. I never get to the flow state in running. I never did.
Oh, I finally feel like I've like reached that recently. Actually, it, like a little bit. It kind of comes and goes, but it's like you get to a point where it's just like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna put one foot in front of the other and just like go.
I think if I
I go slowly, but still.
I think if I did it now, and wasn't just because like when I used to do it in high school, it was like I need to get this over with. So I would run 2 miles at 7.5 minute pace. Horrible. It sucked every second. It was horrible, but I got over with. But now if I try to like enjoy it, I think I might have a good time. I think I might understand, but I also don't be doing cardio like that anymore.
You probably get into like a similar state of mind while lifting, I'd assume. Like when you said you get locked in, it's the same thing of like you get into a state where you're not thinking about anything else is what I'm trying to say. And you're just moving with like in my case when it's like a long freestyle day, I'm moving with not really the intention. Like I'm not thinking about, okay, I need to breathe every 3 or I need to do this, or I'm not even thinking about like stuff outside or inside. Like I'm not thinking about swim or, the things happening outside. Like my brain is completely empty.
It is. It depends.
Thanks.
It depends on the day. Some days I walk in there and like it's just like going through the motions. But there's some days where I'm like in the middle of workout and then I start doing something and I'm like, wow, this feels amazing today. Because like, I guess maybe with like the mind muscle connection, like when that is like super like strong for me, those days just feel so much better. And it's like I'm very much so in tune with like what I'm doing and not just like it's not like putting one foot in front of the other. It's like I'm going to intentionally like do this thing, and I'm very much so like aware. But I guess also in a sense, I do. There are some days where I am just like, all right, I have this schedule in my head of what I'm going to do today, and I just go do it. And it's not like, and I'm just moving the weight. So I get you, but I don't know. Maybe with one day with running.
Well, I was gonna say maybe that's a difference between like cardio versus doing exercises. Like when you lift, it's supposed to be intentional, right? Whereas like when you're doing cardio, you usually do it for long periods of time, and like at least in my case, I can't spend all swim thinking I need to do this many kicks off the wall, I need to do this many strokes before I breathe, I need to do this, this, and this. I usually just go and do it.
I will say there's something for me with running too, which maybe some people do this, I don't know, but like I'm used to having a breathing pattern with swim, so I do that with running as well, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna breathe in for 2 steps, out for 2 steps, in for 3, out for 5. It's weird, I don't know why, but like it just like I have that same like internal like, okay, this is how I'm gonna breathe, and like it's a little bit more conscious than swim because like I'm just so used to doing that with swim, and I don't always follow this, but like I think that is something that has kind of helped me to like zone out a little bit more, is just to have this very mundane thing to just be like thinking of.
Which I guess I never really thought about that way in terms of like, especially with breathing. Because
I guess it's almost like meditative in a way of like thinking about your breathing, like.
Because like I never did. Well, also growing up, and actually probably now too, if I'm being honest, I had asthma, so breathing was always just like a struggle when I was trying to run.
I took my inhaler this morning before we went. It helped.
I started doing that towards the end, and it did help. I have my inhaler in my bag right now. I guess I used it randomly like 3 months ago, but that did help. Maybe you know what? Maybe I'll get back into running. Maybe I'll chase that high that I'm sure doesn't exist. But you know, I can be proven wrong. But
Get back into cardio.
I go for my walks, and I go for a
He
walk.
has his hot boy walks.
And you know what? You're making a joke, but I'm being so for real.
He does
I
do that.
I live for my hot boy walks. You know what? I'll call it my hot girl walk. It is a hot girl walk. Sometimes it's just me and Chaperone, and we are walking through the streets, and it's great. Other times it's take your mark pod. I know. Before work, I'm out there walking, but I got to get my 10,000 steps a day. Do I hit it every day? I work an office job, so no. but I can try.
So to end this conversation, at least part 1, anyway, Kyle, what's the best piece of fitness advice you've ever received? Have you received any? And if you have, what's the best one?
Like, if I'm being honest, I don't know if I've received like really any fitness advice. Like, I never really had a mentor. Never really had anyone that like, I don't know, that like I was directly working with to like give me fitness advice. It's more so my own trial and error of like, okay, let me try this like workout split of like let's try like push pull legs. It's like a classic lifting split. Or like let me try this movement. Or like maybe it was my friend who was like, hey, I've been doing this thing, you should try it. I'd be like, wow, this is great. It wasn't great. And so I've received a lot of bad advice, but I should say I have received great advice in some things. I think what I've subscribed to the most right now, because actually I have thought of one. It wasn't given to me directly. It was like things I found while doing research, that kind of thing. Lifts don't have to be 2 hours long, 3 hours long to be effective. Like, if you are really pushing hard and you are doing like even just 2, maybe 3 working sets of like one movement, like a bench press or something, and you are like going until failure or near failure, like you're going to build muscle, you're going to gain strength. So that was my best piece of advice, was that, just because my workouts went from being like 2 hours long to being, some days I'm in and out in 45 minutes, which is, as an adult, that's great, because I don't got the time anymore to be in there for 5 million years. Because when I first started, I was there for 2, maybe 3 hours with the boys, just honestly screwing around, just working out, quote unquote. But we were just being like I have a video of my friend Ben, who came directly from work to the gym, and he was dressed in like slacks and a button down, and he's on like the ab machine where you like crunch yourself forward, just like doing these crunches in his. I hate it too, and he was doing it in his slacks. It was hilarious. A similar video as my friend Peyton on like a similar machine, but a little different one, maxing out the like crunch. Like I think it was like the lying down one. I was like, dude, you're crazy. He's a Marine now and married.
They're getting shout outs, or do you want me to cut this bit out?
No, I mean you can cut it out if you want, but hey Peyton, if you're watching this, how did you find this? But shout out to you. But definitely best piece of advice was to optimize my lifts and don't overdo it, but do it effectively. Because I found the trap of feeling like I needed to do a bajillion, million, trillion different things in the gym when I really only needed to do like one major thing. So, yeah.
That's good advice. Want to wrap up there?
Secondary piece of advice.
Oh.
Caffeine. No, you should take it. Actually, my piece of advice, I'm giving advice right now. Do not take pre-workout if you can avoid it. Don't do it. Because it's ruined working out for me without it. Yep.
For any listeners, there were air quotes around ruin, just so you know.
Like I can still oh yeah, true. For the audio listeners, I can still tolerate it. Like I still will enjoy it, but it's just arguably worse. But caffeine's an addictive substance, guys. Who would have thought? It's true.
Great note to end on.
Before we officially wrap it up, we're gonna force Kyle to stay here for about 2 more hours to film another episode, which will be the next one out. So make sure you stay tuned for part 2 of our conversation with him.
Wait, we're doing both today?
Yeah.
Did you not know that?
No.
You have energy? You ready to yap?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah. So that wraps up episode 7. Isn't that crazy? We've hit episode 7.
That is wild.
And our first guest episode. Thanks for joining us, by the way.
Thank you for having me. It's
Yeah.
been wonderful so far.
So far.
A threat? I wouldn't call it a threat. More of just perhaps a worry. No.
Well, anyway, thank you for being here. Thanks for coming. Thank you all for viewing, listening, subscribing, because Kyle's told you to subscribe 4 times.
Like the video as well.
Like the video. Yeah, do everything. Comment.
If you're on Apple Podcasts, just post it there.
No.
If you're on Spotify, download it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do everything. We see it. We've said this before. We see it. We see you guys.
Follow the Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram at TakeYourMarkPod. I ask you this every time, but have I missed any? That's it. Okay. Well, we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
With a third
Bye.
microphone.
And with Kyle.
Please.